If you grew up in the 1970s, they called us the feral generation. We had no GPS, no phones, and a key around our neck. But while the world saw independence, our nervous systems were learning a silent, lifelong lesson. If you find it physically painful to ask for help today, this is why. You let yourself into an empty house after school, heard the TV or radio filling the silence, and knew no one was checking where you were for hours. On the outside, it looked like freedom. On the inside, your body was learning a survival habit that never turned off. It still lives in how you handle problems, why it's so hard to fully relax at home, and why needing someone feels like a weakness you can't afford. We often paint the 70s in these broad, nostalgic strokes of freedom and feral play. But underneath, the freedom was a massive shift in the family unit. Divorce rates were climbing, inflation was hitting hard, and for the first time, you had millions of kids coming home to empty houses. This wasn't just a cultural vibe, it was a developmental environment. And it shaped a nervous system that taught one big lesson very early: you are on your own. If you grew up in the 70s, you were likely a pioneer of the latchkey lifestyle. That term sounds quaint now, but it was actually a pretty big deal. Basically, you were the experiment. While previous generations had parents constantly watching, the 70s kid had a unique kind of unsupervised solitude. You had responsibility before you had the maturity to handle it. If you got hurt, you patched it up. If you were hungry, you made a sandwich. But here's the psychological kicker. A child's brain is designed to learn how to calm down with someone else. It's how we learn that the world is safe. When there's no adult there to help you process big feelings, the brain adapts. You didn't just learn to be strong, you learned that your needs were your problem alone to solve. You became a master of your own survival because you had to be. This is how that survival habit that never turned off shows up today. Since you didn't have someone to help you regulate, you learned to turn the volume knob on your emotions way down. If you were upset back then, you were often told, "I'll give you something to cry about." So, you built a bypass. You went straight from feeling a threat to taking action. This hyperindependence isn't just a personality trait, it's a protective shield. If relying on others leads to disappointment, the safest move is to need nothing from anyone. Fast forward to now, you're likely the person everyone else relies on. You're the problem solver, the rock, because you've been figuring it out since you were 8 years old. But the flip side, it's incredibly lonely behind that wall of competence. That emotional distance protected you back then. It kept you safe when supervision was low and expectations were high. But today, that same adaptation might be keeping you from the connection you actually want. You learned to survive the silence, but you don't have to live in it anymore. If this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe.